Students, this is part 2 of Jorgensen's theory of investment or neoclassical theory of investment. So in part 1 we have seen the CT function which was given by Jorgensen, which is CT is equal to PT into curly QT over curly KT. Now further we move on that Cobb-Douglas production function has been taken by Jorgensen's model, and Cobb-Douglas production function is QT is equal to A KT raised to power alpha into LT raised to power beta. So now we are differentiating with respect to KT. When we differentiate, we get curly QT over curly KT, which is equal to alpha down. So alpha into A into KT raised to power alpha minus 1 into LT raised to power beta. So after this, now we are multiplying both the sides by KT over QT. We are multiplying left hand side and right hand side by KT over QT. So what we get is curly QT by curly KT into KT over QT, which is equal to, we also multiply KT over QT on right hand side, right? So in the next step what we get is we just write it in a smoother manner, that is alpha into A KT raised to power alpha minus 1 into LT raised to power beta into KT whole divided by QT. So after this next step comes alpha into A KT, now this remains alpha into LT raised to power beta, right? Whole divided by I have written this on the right hand side, that is QT is equal to A into KT raised to power alpha LT raised to power beta. So this is the value of QT, Cobb-Douglas production function, and therefore we are writing it in the denominator. And therefore what is left is that we cancel this thing in numerator and denominator, and therefore what we are left is this alpha, right? So what we get is that curly QT over curly KT, this thing is equal to, we are cross multiplying and we get alpha into QT divided by KT. Now this is equation number 4. We are substituting this equation number 4 into equation number 3. You can see again the equation number 3. So this was the equation number 3, that is CT, which was the user cost of capital. In this user cost of capital CT, we are going to substitute the value of 4, right? So we are substituting 4 into 3. So we get CT is equal to PT into alpha into QT divided by KT. So after that we cross multiply and then we get KT is equal to alpha into PT into QT divided by CT. Now, so we can see that this KT, now this KT is what? It is the optimum stock of capital, right? It is optimum stock of capital in T period. Now this KT has a positive relation with aggregate output or income, which is the QT, because QT is lying in the, you can see the numerator. Similarly, KT has a positive relation with the general price level also, which is PT, which is lying in the numerator. But KT has inverse relation with user cost of capital, because user cost of capital CT, it is lying in the denominator, this is CT. Okay, so in this way we find that KT, the optimum stock of capital in T period, has a relation with the aggregate output, the general price level and the user cost of capital. As we have seen or we have derived KT, in the similar manner we can also derive KT minus 1, which will be equal to what? It will be equal to alpha into PT minus 1 QT minus 1 divided by CT minus 1. Now this is equation number 6. Now we are substituting the equation number 5. This was equation number 5 and this is equation number 6. Substituting equation number 5 and 6 in equation number 1. right? The net investment in the current period can be determined as. So what was the equation number 1? This was the equation number 1, in which we had seen IT, investment, that is net investment in T period. It was equal to, given by Jorgensen, KT minus KT minus 1 plus delta K T minus 1. So in this very equation of the investment function, we are going to put the values of KT and KT minus 1. So let us see how we do it. So we get this next step, and in the next step what we are getting is that this IT is equal to alpha into PT into QT over CT. We have just put the value of KT over here, minus alpha into P T minus 1 into Q T minus 1 over C T minus 1. We have just put the value of K T minus 1 plus delta into K T minus 1. So in this way the next step becomes IT is equal to alpha, it is being taken as common, into PT into QT over CT minus PT minus 1 QT minus 1 over CT minus 1 plus delta K T minus 1. So this is the Jorgensen investment function in T period, and we can easily see that the Jorgensen's or neoclassical investment function in T period is a function of the PT, that is the price level, Q, that is the aggregate income or output, and C, that is the user cost of capital. And we have already seen that P and Q, they are in the numerator, that is why they are having a positive relation with IT, with investment function, but C is in the denominator. Therefore this C, that is user cost of capital, is having inverse relation with investment in T period. So now we come to the differences between Jorgensen's neoclassical theory and Keynesian theory. First is that Jorgensen's model is emphasizing upon the purchase or sale of the assets, whereas in Keynesian model what we study is that Keynesian model is stressing upon the holding of an asset. So this is the difference between the two. Then next we move to the next difference, that the neoclassical theory or Jorgensen's model, it gives much significance to the policy making, that is, it is very important from policy viewpoint, and whenever the taxes change, they are going to have influence on investment. We have seen that tax is a very important variable which has been taken in Jorgensen's model. So whenever taxes will change, definitely they will have effect on investment also in the country. But if we talk of Keynesian model, Keynes never talked about the tax changes. He failed to consider the tax changes in his model. So the next difference between the two is that Jorgensen's theory considers the effect of changes in the prices of the capital goods on investment. So whenever the prices of capital goods change, they are going to have an effect on the investment. We have seen that price is an important variable in Jorgensen's model, but in Keynesian model we remember that Keynes did not talk about the prices, the change in prices or the price variable, and so we can say that Keynes has overlooked the changes in prices or their effect on the investment. The next difference is that the neoclassical theory relates the investment to a large number of variables. We have seen a number of variables have been taken in the Jorgensen's model. They were CR, then we had R, delta, TC, D, K. So all were the variables which were taken by neoclassical theory, but in Keynesian theory we do not find all such variables. In Keynes theory we only talk about the supply prices and rate of interest. Supply price or the replacement cost and rate of interest were the two important variables which were taken by Keynes. So the next difference is that this neoclassical theory is considered as better than Keynesian theory on empirical grounds also. Empirical grounds means the statistical and historical grounds. Because Jorgensen and Siebert, they have taken the data. They have taken data of which period? 1946 to 1963. But in Keynes' model, we do not find any such empirical evidence. So Keynes has not taken any such statistical or historical data in his model. So these were the differences between the two. So now we talk of the criticism of Jorgensen's model. Now regarding the criticism, we can say that Jorgensen's model is dependent upon the Cobb-Douglas production function, but critics have objected to taking this very production function, that is linear homogeneous production function, which has been taken by Jorgensen for explaining his investment function. After that, we see that Jorgensen's model is having the impact of different variables which are taken in Jorgensen's model and their impact on the investment. Now this very impact is explained very indirectly by Jorgensen, because we have actually taken the influence of user cost of capital on investment, and then different types of variables are said to have an influence on user cost of capital. So in this way we can say that just indirect type of influence of various variables are shown on investment function. In case of Jorgensen's model, he is not showing any type of direct relation between CR, R, delta, TC, D and K. They are all not having any direct type of relation with the investment function. They are only having indirect type of relation through the user cost of capital. So this is criticism of neoclassical theory. Then another criticism is that neoclassical theory is assuming the perfect competition. It is being assumed in product market and capital market, but we know that perfect competition is a very unrealistic, or it is very imaginary type of market. Then another type of criticism is that Jorgensen fails to explain the process through which the actual cost of capital adjusts to the optimum stock of capital. See, we have talked about KT. KT was the optimum stock of capital in Jorgensen's model. But how this actual stock of capital got converted into this KT, that is the optimum stock of capital, it has not been explained by Jorgensen. Then another assumption which has been taken and which has been criticized by the critics is that this model assumes that the expected quantities and the expected prices, they are foreseen. That is, whatever quantity is going to be there in the future, or whatever prices we expect in the future, they are very certain type of variables. But actually the critics say that it is not true, because it is not so very certain. We cannot certainly predict about the quantities, the income, the output, the prices that will be there in the future in an economy. Then another criticism of Jorgensen's model is that he has taken the assumption that the changes in the current prices, they produce proportional changes in the future prices. And critics say that when you say that there are changes in the current prices and they are going to have the same type of effect on the prices in the future, then this type of assumption is very simple. It is very simplistic type of assumption, and therefore on this ground also Jorgensen's model has been criticized. So in this way, in Jorgensen's model, in this part we have seen how the Cobb-Douglas production function has been used in order to come to the investment function IT, which is the investment function which is derived by Jorgensen in T period. Then we have also seen the differences between the neoclassical model and Keynesian model, and after that we have seen the criticism of Jorgensen's theory of investment. I hope you have understood the Jorgensen's model of investment. Thank you so much.